Griffeld. Okay. Bills are going right up. Again, you might see here for the girls, I put up sweet corn. Not, there's a co-op down the road from me, and not a month, 2 months ago, 2 corn cobs, fresh, would cost about £1.40. £1.30, £1.40. Now gone up to £1.65, and I expected to get even higher. Just corn cobs. I mean, what's the Freddo likely to get up to? A single Freddo? You remember the old way of of estimating interest of the uptick in interest rates was the price of the Freddo. Just imagine what that could get up to. A pint, 4 pints of milk nearly cost nearly £2. What on earth? And what's getting worse with that is that it's more expensive, and yet this milk doesn't seem to run out. It doesn't seem to last nearly as long. What? This government is a mess, and the incoming government is looking to also be a mess. And if anyone was looking for respite from this continuing rise in the bills, is going to be sorely disappointed. Largely because the Tories don't give a flying fuck. Now, what could be done? Well, as far as I'm concerned, raising corporation tax for a start. Not shrinking it. A windfall tax. Another windfall tax, a meaningful windfall tax, meaning that £1,000, well, £800 to £1,000 per person. And if you're going to try and tell me that that's it, that's not that's not plausible, then I would take another look at the numbers that are being pumped into the energy producers, suppliers. And not just them. You'd put a windfall tax on anyone else that's made one hell of a profit. Not just because of this this big problem that we got going on with oil prices and gas prices. There are plenty of Brexit donors and Tory donors, that own businesses that did very well out of out of Brexit. Most didn't, but there are some that did. Some big ones. Private companies. Largely financing firms. It's ridiculous. Tax these motherfuckers. I mean, the Bank of England needs a new head. Because all the sensible logic tells me that anyone telling me that people ask that rising wages are the cause of inflation and are putting this across as a main reason. I'm not an economist, but I've done a lot of reading and researching on economics because of me and my friend wanting to start a business. You can't. Anyway, back to bills. You know, then with the energy, you know, they say what about investment, but you can take some of that windfall tax and put it into actually investing into green tech, into green energy, or if need be, and I don't like to say this, but if need be, any oil that we need to use during the transferring period, you know, from fossil fuels to green tech, you know, in that transfer period, use some of that to invest in nuclear tech, in you know, we could put this money to where it needs to go. We could make the businesses do that. We could actually make the businesses do that, but there are so many people out there that both and slash either or do not want, and are trying to avoid talking about, you know, major regulation on their business practices. They don't want to chat about it because they do not want it, because they know that their profit margins, their pockets, will be that much smaller. The excuse, by the way, and this is delving into water, in this country especially, the excuse of, oh, we need to give these over to private businesses because it will mean better investment. This was the promise that was given to us in the fucking 80s. And the improvements have been marginal at best, if there have been any. To tell me that, to try and tell me that no, they do. Oh, no, they actually do, really. If they did, we would not be in this mess. Oh, it's because of all the... Then why have they got loads of fucking cash? And don't tell me it's because of this. They had loads of cash before. They had loads of cash before the Ukraine crisis. Like I said, it's not just the energy companies that have done well out of all of this. You know, there are companies that have done well out of the last 12 years, the pandemic, and Brexit, plus this latest edition of the hiking global interest rates because of the whole energy crisis. So I don't believe them. I don't. Too much doesn't correlate. Too many factors do not correlate. It's as simple as that. What do I think we can do about the issue? As I said, right now, there are a couple of things that can be done. Someone more educated in economics would be able to to expand upon the subject. However, this is something that needs to be properly looked into. This is where I think Starmer's idea, council's idea, his committee's idea will work. And in this area, you could come up with a committee of emergency financial responsibility, if that makes sense. So they make the rules on how money is spent. They make the financial rules on how money is spent to support, specifically to support the people, not businesses, not large businesses. And if they do support businesses, small to medium businesses, because the big businesses can fucking take it. Largely. Not all of them, but largely. That's why most of them are still fucking around. If anyone's going to tell you otherwise, don't believe them. Don't tell them not to be stupid. Tell them not to be the sheep. This is the mentality, don't. Yes, we need to, work together, but that doesn't mean we need to abandon our individuality. We can different people from different areas of life are gonna have things to contribute to the situation. Why isn't there consultation amongst the public? That's something I'd do. There's a policy for you. You put. I know that there's probably technically procedures to do this, but obviously it's not proficient enough. It's not evident enough. It's not something that most people, you can put policy ideas across to MPs when you meet them and stuff, but mostly they don't listen. So this is why I think there ought to be some kind of commission or committee that helps to form and decide on governmental financial matters during emergency situations. And this would be something that is solidly put in place by law. Now you could say this could make things even more bureaucratic, but if you've got people on this council that are from one from each of the demographics at least. That's just one example, by the way. You can make it up however you like, but what you don't want is the same format that we've had when it comes to any kind of council or committee, where we've had people from the top of society that sit at the top of these committees. I'm not saying we don't have anyone from that sort, because that's a demographic in of itself. But we can't have it largely made up and of the rich people, where the rich people have the majority of control of decision in these councils. This is what I mean. This might sound a bit complicated, but it's actually rather straightforward. And you could have a system in place where if enough people, like the this enough is enough campaign, or the don't pay campaign, or any other, petition campaign, where you can put, if enough people sign up you put this petition to the council and they put it for review. Now, you have several of these commissions set up for different things. That provides jobs for ministers who would otherwise be going around doing bugger all. Idea? Let me know. These are just a couple of ideas, about the economic situation, and especially when it comes to energy bills. I personally would renationalise energy. I would. And I would arrange it so that I would put a windfall tax on these energy companies for a substantial amount, for the right amount. Not bleed them dry. Don't be stupid, but for mathematically sound amount that means that we can pay off the shareholders of the private companies and then renationalise, if not all of them, then most of them. Definitely water. Renationalise water. That's a major one. If we can strengthen our own national grid from an internal position, why don't we renationalise? Why don't we have our own version of EDL, BDL, something like that, or BOL. Well, just or BOE. I don't know. It just there are several things that we could do that we could ease the situation, not just now, but for the future to come. This is why I say that pagans should also get in on the situation. Now, these views aren't necessarily pagan in particular. There must be other pagans that have thought about this and must want to get in on the conversation. This is what I mean. You could have ideas. I mean, I suppose you could say that this is pagan in some sense. Councils, Wootton Gauntlets, sort of thing. It's loose. It's tenuous at best, but there's a string for you. There's a thread. But yeah, these are just some more thoughts on the economic crisis and the situation with rising bills. Most people in my position know, what it's going to be like. I can deal with me personally. I can deal with the cold. I'm someone who can deal with the cold, but there are a lot of people that just can't. I'm like a living radiator. I'm gonna make you sick. It tends to sit next to me. He has to lean to the side of me, lean away from me, because especially when it gets hot, because I'd sit here and he sits there roasting where I'm not so bad. So I'm fine in the winter, and most people aren't, and so I could go personally, on a personal basis, I could go without paying the heating bills and just focused on food. And most people can't do that. And it's not necessary. The situation did not need to happen. Not the extent that it has, in any case. I'm not naive. I'm not saying that this situation might not have ever happened in the first place, but it never needed to be this bad. We've got it worse here than quite a lot of places across Europe, for a number of very good reasons, and bad ones. I hope this has been of interest to anyone. Like I said, some ideas, and more of us can add to the discussion. The committee idea, I think, is a genuinely good idea, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean more bureaucracy. What do you think? Hope everyone stays well. Bless the Russi.